How's it going?
Doing pretty well. How are you?
Hey, man, ready to roll, ready to talk about Holy Week. You
Holy
got to
Week.
tell me about it.
OTXNT meets Holy Week. Is there a better
Yes.
collision of the Old and New Testament coming together? So
Let's do it.
let's do it. All right. Well, welcome to OTXNT. I'm Dr. Andrew Marquez, and I'm joined by
With his friend,
my friend.
Dr. Ben Pate.
And it's kind of an exciting thing. You know, I think this is good to get out before Holy Week, so we can go ahead and jump in. You want to just open with our prayer and then go forward?
Let's do it, man.
All right. If you'll join me in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Well, I'll tell you, it is interesting trying to do a little background into what different denominations do with Holy Week. And really, as Baptists, we kind of do what we want to do, and there's a lot going on here. So I'm just going to talk about some different things that are going on and maybe how we might want to apply some things in our churches and perhaps not,
Yeah.
But what do you all do for Holy Week over at Royal Palms?
So here's what I do. And this is just something we don't follow. That's the thing. You and I both say we did not grow up with much tradition in the Baptist church. So here's what I've done. Over time, this is kind of the schedule. Usually I do it on the Wednesday because we have Wednesday night Bible studies, usually on the Wednesday before, not this year. But I'll do like a talk on Passover. So I'll teach families about what Passover was, what it was meant to be, because how it's so connected. Watch the next video. You'll find out about Passover. It's so connected to what's happening in the themes. It's really, really cool. So I usually like teaching on that. And then we'll do a Good Friday service, and then we'll do Easter. So that's about it. But the truth be told, I know there's stuff that I'd never heard of until I came and I was serving at a church and they did something called Maundy Thursday. We did it and it was an interesting thing, but I've not really grew up with any of that kind of stuff. So what about you? What do you guys do?
Yeah, we're very similar to what you described. So basically, Palm Sunday, we typically would have someone bring in some palms, from their trees or something, and we'd hand them out, or the kids will make a little art project, palm leaves, and, wave them around and kind of have fun with that. And, then really we have Wednesday night Bible study as well, probably a lesson somewhere along the way of what's going on in Holy Week. Good Friday, we've usually done Good Friday. We've done some things on Monday as well, but not really distinguished the two as much. It's just kind of sometimes we're looking at the calendar and trying to decide, is it easier to do something Thursday or Friday? We've done the Passion of the Christ for the adults, and we've done movies and different things to try to make it like an event. And we've just preached through the sayings of Christ from the cross. And then usually Easter Sunday, which of course we celebrate the Bible with our egg hunt because that's what they did on Easter Sunday. They went looking for eggs, right?
In Tucson, because you guys are out in the desert, I remember working there. That's the day too. You got to get there early with a rake or a shovel to look for rattlesnakes before you put the eggs out for kids to do that. So we did that too, but I got rid of that because I feel like you don't enjoy Sunday. You go from one thing to the next on Easter, and you don't just get to say, let's just enjoy the morning. So I cut, and we moved that to a Saturday. We usually do that on the Saturday, but we also got rid of that too. I'm like, let's just do it more low key. Let's do something after Easter, and let's do our own Easter eggs at home. So I don't know. I changed that up, but yeah, I've done that, man. It's been fun.
Yeah, and I don't know. Do you ever do a morning sunrise service on Easter?
We're doing it this year. Royal Palms, if you're watching, or if you're at North Swan and they don't offer one, you're welcome to come to Phoenix at 6 a.m. And we'll have you here with us. Yeah, we're gonna do an outdoor one, and we like our courtyard and how it looks, and we've got some heaters to make it warm. But that's also gonna for two things, right? So in this post-COVID world, there's some we just want to be outside. It's an easy option for you, but also it's pretty. It's pretty in the morning. So yeah, we've not done it. This is the first year to do it, and I'm excited, man. I'm excited to do that. Do the 6 a.m. at the church.
That's cool. Yeah, we're doing 10 a.m., but we're doing it outside as well, and just gonna kind of have a good time and set up some stuff and do it. We're not doing Bible study, so we'll do the egg hunt kind of after church and let all the kids go crazy and head on home to celebrate with family and all that. And for those that have been doing the Lenten fast, we talked about that. I don't know how many actually jumped in with it. You know, it's exciting because that's the end. That is the party day. So looking forward to maybe roasting a lamb or something. I don't know. That's what the Eastern Church does. They have a lamb.
Well, I'm roasting lamb for Passover, man. Like, this is why I don't think I can work Lent in. If we've got too many biblical feasts that require delicious foods I can't give up during this time.
It's tough. It's pretty crazy. So, but anyway, you know, there's just a lot of cool traditions. The Christian tradition is very rich and it's diverse. And so, you know, just generally, what is Holy Week? So I'll go down a little spiel here and we'll go back and forth. Does that sound like a plan?
Let's do it. You're the Holy Week guy for this video. So let's talk.
You're the Passover guy for the next video, which everyone will want to watch. So
that's right.
So yeah, Holy Week, you know, if you've read the Gospels, what you see is that there's a disproportionate amount of attention given to Christ's passion. And so, you know, some of the Gospels don't even talk much about his birth at all. But all of them kind of have an extended section on his death, crucifixion, resurrection. And so Holy Week is kind of a moment to really step inside that time in the life of Christ when he comes on Palm Sunday to offer himself as the king to the people. And of course, we celebrate Palm Sunday. There's people actually think that might be Monday. And the debate usually centers around how do we connect John's order of events with the synoptics of Matthew, Mark, and Luke. But yeah, Palm Sunday, Jesus marches in on a donkey. So Old Testament guy, is that significant, or did he just need a new ride into town?
I think I read somewhere in the Bible, at least they have bolded out words and they say that was significant. Well, I mean, so that's significant for two reasons, right? So you've got Zechariah 9:9 talking about your king coming to you on a donkey, but I also think that's significant to, you know, we're talking about the 77s, right, of Daniel chapter 9 of I believe that is Messiah making himself known. I think that's why Jesus says, Jerusalem, if you'd only known the day and what was coming. And so I think that you check that all the way to the exact date. That's when he's there. I think both of those converge together.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And of course, going back to Daniel, you know, the Messiah is going to be offered, but he'll be cut off, is what it says.
Yeah.
So, you know, and that is what happens. But also, if you go to Malachi and it talks about he'll come in, and what does he do? He goes right to the temple and he drives out the money changers, and he's just fulfilling prophecy after prophecy in that moment. And of course, the people recognize it because they say, "Blessed is the Son of David, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord." And so we have this moment where you almost believe that the fulfillment is coming and Christ is coming and the people will accept him and accept their Messiah. But it doesn't work out. Monday, we have, you know, Jesus going back to Bethany. We have him kind of staying at Simon's house there. And Tuesday, cursing the fig tree. So different denominations will do different readings. So on Holy Monday, some of the readings that are out there are Jesus is having his feet anointed by Mary. And of course, the testimony of her washing his feet with oil and all that. Isaiah 42 on Holy Monday. So the first servant song, I think that's kind of a cool reading.
So these are services, Andrew. These are services people go to, like you'll go to Holy Monday at a church and you'll go through the readings.
Right. Yeah. So that's in some denominations, there'll be basically a small service every week, every day of the week. And that's actually all year, especially the churches where, you know, more of the Catholic tradition where you have a celibate priest who has no family and he's offering services every day. But Holy Week in the East and the West traditionally has had masses every day of the week. And the readings also are kept with the Protestant tradition that follows the lectionary. But I kind of thought it was interesting. The servant song is read on Monday. We kind of moved through the servant songs throughout the week. I thought that might be a fun thing to do at home. Maybe as, hey, why don't you read one of the servant songs throughout the week as you prepare with your family? We have the remembrance of Joseph in the East, that he was one who was innocent yet betrayed. And I think that's kind of cool. On Tuesday, we have the readings of the fig. It's called Fig Tuesday, I think, in some places, and that's remembering Jesus cursing the fig tree. He was there. He wanted fruit. There was no fruit. He curses the tree. And it's kind of symbolic, again, when God calls, are you going to respond or not? Is it symbolic of the Jewish nation? Moving on, Wednesday is known as Spy Wednesday. And that's just cool because who doesn't like spy, stuff? But this spy that they're referring to is Judas, who is making plans to betray Jesus. If you remember, they kind of have a bit of a dispute over the wasted perfume of nard that was used on his feet. And after that is finished, we kind of have a scenario, I think it's in Mark or John, where Judas is going to now go meet with the religious leaders to try to determine how to betray Jesus. And so Spy Wednesday remembers that it's getting darker. We move into Maundy Thursday. Do you remember what Maundy stands for?
No.
I don't either. Hang on one time. We'll just pull this up real quick here. It's typically, celebrates the Lord's Supper, right? That's the deal that we're given. Yeah, I should have looked that up before, but I'm not going to get too stuck with it. But Maundy Thursday typically is remembering that Last Supper. And so there are some things that are done in remembrance of me. Now, in the Baptist world, we have two ordinances, which are not sacraments, but ordinances, things we do. We do the Lord's Supper and we do baptism. But there is another do this in remembrance of me thing that occurs, and that is the washing of the feet. So remember, Jesus confronts the disciples as they come in, and he's washing their feet, and Peter says, hey, don't wash my feet. And Jesus says, if I don't wash your feet, you can't be a part. And he says, well, then wash my whole body. And Jesus says, I'm just washing your feet, man. And you just got to love Peter. But this whole do this in remembrance of me is where some denominations, they actually look at foot washing as an ordinance of the church. I think the Mennonites do that, where foot washing is a regular thing that happens. Huh. So I don't know if you've ever done a foot washing service.
Nope.
But I'll tell you, we did this in high school where they did it for chapel, and a bunch of kids were going around washing feet. There's nothing more uncomfortable in my life than having some person wash my feet. I understood Peter, but of course, washing of the feet was a slave's task, and it's the humility of Christ.
Yes.
So a lot of churches will do a Maundy Thursday service. Well, they'll do the Lord's Supper. They'll maybe even have foot washing. I know Green Valley in town, a lot of times they would do a living Lord's Supper where everyone would dress up and reenact the night where Christ gave himself. Do this in remembrance of me, the Lord's Supper, the body and blood of Christ. And so that is a cool practice. And I guess Mountain View used to do that, right? Maybe they still do that.
Brett loves Maundy Thursday. That was a big thing. And so I don't think we didn't do Good Friday. We did Maundy Thursday is what the thing was there.
Yeah. And Maundy Thursday, I believe it does reference the washing of the feet. That's where I'm trying to lock my brain around all these things. Now, Good Friday, where a lot of us celebrate it, of course, people are, what's so good about Good Friday if Jesus dies? And significantly, Jesus, his death is good. It's good for us. It's for our good that he dies for sin. So it's a terrible tragedy, and yet it's ultimately for the good of those he came to save. And so we celebrate Good Friday. Typically, if you only do Good Friday, maybe you'll do the Lord's Supper at your church, or you'll do something to remember the cross, right? And this is historically, there has been a hard fast in some places where after Maundy Thursday, you don't eat until Easter. And so this is something that's a little more extreme. If you're doing certain abstinences or fasting, just giving up food until Easter Sunday, you can imagine that that's quite a deal to give up, because you're talking Friday, Saturday, and Thursday evening. So it's a pretty significant fast. But that was the idea of, okay, this is a grieving period. Again, we talked about fasting related to grieving. We're remembering.
Interesting. I like that, actually. I really do, about trying to spend those 2 days. That also makes Sunday that much more exciting, right? I haven't eaten for 2 days. I'm starving.
Well, and looking at some of the calendar, these events that are laid out, some of the churches, what they normally do every day is bumped. And the reason that things are bumped earlier or later is because they recognize that the fasting is impacted. So you can't eat until the Sunday service. So it'd be better for you all to have a 6 a.m. service, because now you can eat, by 7 a.m. or whatever. where,
Yeah.
so, you see some of the changes that happen, and some of that is to accommodate the time and the length of the fast. So that is kind of a cool thing that, if you haven't done any fasting along the way, maybe you could zero in for Holy Week and do a few intentional abstinences or fasting, just as you prepare your spirit to celebrate what Christ accomplished. And then Easter Sunday, right? He is risen indeed. I was teaching a class at Wayland Baptist University. It was Old Testament history, New Testament history, and we were talking about the resurrection. And I had a student who grew up kind of not religiously, but we were talking about, and we celebrate Christ's resurrection from the dead. And he responded with a question like, well, not literally. Like he had never understood that Christianity is based upon a literal physical resurrection of Jesus Christ. And so it was really an interesting thing that in America, you would assume everybody knows that that's what we do on Easter. But yes, we celebrate the risen Lord, and we do that. The Easter egg thing, people like to try to connect that to a cultic background, and that might be something that was stolen from a cultic background to appropriate to Christ. I don't know. I do know, though, if you give up eggs for 50 days, you're going to be excited about an egg, and you might even give an egg away as a gift and make it look all nice. And so I think it definitely fits in with that Lenten fast being accomplished. And of course, eggs are symbolic of so many things, but the new life that we have in Christ. And so that is kind of Holy Week and how it is celebrated. There is this one thing I came across that was cool, but I'll kick it back to you in case you had anything you want to share.
Yeah, I mean, I would say one of the things that we try to add in too, and we try to do it every year, is find more ways for parents to teach the story. So like we use the resurrection eggs. And this year we're doing them. We're like, it's one egg. We started last night and we go all the way until Easter. There's a new piece of the story to tell. I think that's important. In fact, that's something I think I'm going to work with you on as an idea of coming up with a guide for how to do Holy Week, how to like readings, things that you can do, because really the primary discipleship unit is the family, right? So whether you're doing this with your kids or whether you're doing this for yourself, how do I, as a Baptist, how do I do this? And I say that just as a Baptist pastor, our identity is not that we're Baptist. It's our tradition, but we're just saying like, how do I do this as a Christian, right? Of like, prepare myself, think through these things, some ideas. And so that's another thing that we do. I'll just say this on the Easter egg piece, and then we're done. I know there's a lot of people that give pushback on use of Easter eggs, things like that. I think when I come down to it, by the way, the incorporation of Easter egg hunts, I think that's a local church decision, how you want to use that, right? So like we used to do it where that was our thing, Super Saturday or whatever the Saturday before, we did the Easter egg hunt. We used to do it on Sundays. I think if you know why you're doing it and what the reason is for, and if it's tying in to trying to get people to stay, to be part. I mean, I think there's a reason, there should be a good reason why, but I'm not too concerned when people bring up, Easter, because that's not going to stop me from eating robin's eggs. That's not going to stop me from eating chocolate bunnies. Those are all, especially the Reese's ones, but those are all things that I think it's, you church by church, you should say, okay, what is this? How does this fit with our context? And what's the purpose? So that's my thoughts on that, Andrew.
Yeah, and I think, we historically loaded Bible verses in the eggs. We hand them out to all the parents that are going to help us, all the ladies in the church that are going to help us. And, with my kids the other day, we were stuffing eggs and putting Bible verses in. And, that's something that we've always done to try to at least redeem the egg in some sort of sense. But we look at it as an outreach. It's something fun for the kids to do. Maybe we'll get families to come. But we in no way are worshiping any false goddess. And again, I think that there seems to be a tendency where people, if they can find any cultic connection at all, they want to assume that Christianity just got sucked into some sort of evil practice, rather than recognizing that some of the practices were adopted in order to bring lost people to Christ. And then sometimes the cults copied the church. And we don't historically always know who did it first, but we do know this, that these long fasts with no animal products and no eggs, it's a very logical reason to say, let's celebrate eggs on Easter and let's roast a lamb and let's do these things because we haven't had meat and meat products in really it's 46 days in the West. It's like 50 days in the East. So those are things. Also, I didn't mention in the churches that practice a confession. Wednesday is a confessional day. And that is significant, again, not that we have usually a practice of confession. Baptists have done that in different places, but it's a good way of saying, okay, we're approaching this, when's the last time I cleared my conscience before God and confessed my sins and kind of did an inventory? And so that's something that you could add on a personal practice, go to Christ and, try to commit to obedience.
Yeah.
The last thing I said, I found this cool thing out, which I'm always kind of surprised at, but I didn't know what it was. I was looking through things, and there was something called Tenebrae. And Tenebrae is this service that occurs in a lot of the higher churches, Roman Catholic, Anglican, but really even some congregational churches do it. And I'm seeing some Baptists that are doing it. And it's a 15 candle candelabra that you go to church kind of in the evening, and they do a service that's rich in reading of Psalms and responses with regard to the gospel. And as the service goes on, they extinguish candles. And so at the end of the evening, it's getting dark outside, and the candles are getting dark, and they extinguish all but one. And so it's called the dark, Tenebrae means darkness in Latin. And so it's a service that is, it gets steadily darker. And it's usually Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And it's the idea that the light of the world is being taken from us. And the last light is the Christ candle. They go and they hide this thing out of the sanctuary. And it ends with the pastor slamming the Bible shut in a loud thumping noise, and everyone leaves the church quietly. And I'm like, that's a cool practice, because it's almost reverse of the light of the world coming in at Christmas. He is leaving us for a time. But again, symbolic of an Easter sunrise service, the light will dawn again in this time in glory. So that's
like
what
that.
I've got.
That's a pretty cool candle idea. So, well, hey man, I think that's a good place to stop. I think it's helpful to just think through, what are other traditions doing? What does the calendar look like for the week? And what are some ways that maybe you can use that week for yourself, right? So it would be helpful. I do think it's just a good practice regardless of whether you incorporate any of these days, whether as a pastor you put these into your week and try to build it in. Are you reading the Gospels? I think especially during Easter time, like, you should be reading, what are they saying about this time? It's a really helpful. It makes the week even more real to you. One thing that we just went through, because I adjunct over at Grand Canyon, and they challenged us to read through the Gospels, all the Gospels during the semester. And so here we are. We're almost done, and it's been great to have all of that back to back to back, hearing those stories. So I think that's helpful. Make sure you find time to try to be intentional. I think about even just reading the Gospels during this week.
Right. And that's also something that came up. Each of these daily services, there would be a gospel passion narrative that would be read. And so you could do that if you haven't been doing it the whole time, and maybe you look at, okay, well, Monday we're going to read Matthew's passion, Mark's on Tuesday, Luke's on Thursday, John's on Friday. And, we could put together a devotional thing, and maybe do something fun with candles at your house. There's just ways there's not a right or wrong way to do this. We're not doing it legalistically. But is there a way to enrich this time where we remember what Christ accomplished for us? If we can enrich it, let's do it. That's kind of my view.
For sure. Well, hey, man, this has been fun.
Yeah.
I appreciate you sharing Holy Week with us. Some of that stuff, just a good reminder, some of that stuff, like I said, some of those I haven't heard of in forever. So, I appreciate it. You want me to close us out?
Close us out.
With our prayer?
Yeah, let's do the blessing here.
Here we go. May the Lord bless you and protect you. May the Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. May the Lord look with favor on you and give you peace. God bless, guys. Thanks for watching, and look forward to seeing you with us on the Passover one that'll drop after this one sometime. So take care.
Take care. God bless.